fundraiser, which means we'll be calling you next year and the year after, and etc. But I also want to just say thank you to the Knickerbocker for hosting this. This is very And we have a small board of directors, and one of our members isn't able to be here because she's ill, but we have two other members, Diane Green over here, and Crystal is right here taking pictures. Oh yeah. I just want to really say one word about the value of this organization. Judith will tell you more about it, but it's such a privilege and an honor to be associated with something that does such good for so many people. And so with that, I'll give you Judith Rubenstein, our executive director.
Okay, this is wonderful. So I'm going to read somewhat from this because it's an awards brunch, and I want to, list all the agencies and organizations that we're awarding. So excuse me for reading some of this. Okay, Connecting to Advantages, which I'll refer to as CTA. For those of you not familiar with it, it's a small 3-year-old nonprofit with a twofold purpose. One is we connect low-income people with the government benefits for which they're eligible by going to where those folks are already gathering, food pantries, psychosocial clubs, career centers for the unemployed. And we give that information. Then the second half of our purpose is to empower the volunteers who give out that information, who are community leaders, who are peers of the people to whom they give the information. So the first people I want to honor here are some of our 30, 40 volunteers, and the volunteer advisory group, and the volunteer board of directors, and Bureau of Manhattan Community College, who gives us student interns each term. Could you all stand? I'm not going to say your names, but could all the volunteers, the volunteer advisory board, and the volunteer board just stand? Okay. Say that 2 sets of them are going to work right after this. The Village Temple Soup Kitchen folk and the Metro Baptist Church folk, the food pantry there folk. So when you see them leaving, they're off doing that. So after I speak, everybody schmooze and talk to the volunteers. Their name tag says volunteer. Next, I want to thank those who've given us space to work in, office space and worksite space. The directors, the church pastors, the food pantry coordinators. There's Cooper Square Committee where our office has been, and then there are work sites. There's Casa La Esperanza, a psychosocial club in the Bronx. There's the Brooklyn Department of Labor Career Center. There's the Hunts Point Department of Labor Career Center. There's Our Lady of Sorrows Church Food Pantry. There's 2 folks from there. There's a Metropolitan Community Church Food Pantry. There's 1 person here from there. There's Mount Zion AME Food Pantry. There's St. Francis Xavier Church Food Pantry. There's 2 people from there. There's the Metro Baptist Church Food Pantry. There's the Village Temple Soup Kitchen. And then we're working in La Sirena Mexican Store. Their names are in the program and they have name tags, so go talk to them. At these work sites, the volunteers have been able to help people like Angelica Hernandez, who is not here, but who was receiving $20 a month in food stamps, and after we advised her to send in her Con Edison bill, her food stamps went up to $104 a month. Oh, wow. Then there's Ziamara Fernandez, who our volunteers sent to the user-friendly half-fare MetroCard bus on New York City corners, and she easily got half fare. And a recent client at the Brooklyn Career Center, we sent to the equally user-friendly Arab American Family Support Center in Brooklyn, where he signed up easily for Medicaid. And then Lemos Gilbert voted for the first time in the last presidential election, as we had registered him. And tens of soup kitchen folks at St. Francis Xavier got the $145 2008 New York City school tax refund. And they will again this tax season, because CTA volunteers, knowing that those folks are eligible, help them fill out the very simple form. To do this all, we've needed money. And so I'm really grateful for the money that we received from foundations and businesses, and some of them, their representatives are here today. There's the Presbytery of New York City, There's NYU Community Fund, the United Way of New York City, the Seed Time Fund, Ben & Jerry's Foundation, CVS Caremark, the New York Women's Foundation, and Massey Knackle Charitable Foundation. And then there's discretionary funding from city and state legislators whose constituents we serve. We've gotten money from city council members Rosie Mendez and Melissa Mark Viverito, from state assembly members Richard Gottfried and Brian Kavanaugh and Linda Rosenthal, from state senators Tom Duane and Liz Kruger, and from Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer. And then I'm going to keep going here. There have been in-kind donations. I mean, part of what's let us run very cost efficiently is in-kind donations. For example, food for our monthly volunteer training sessions from Veselka, from Life Cafe, from Whole Foods Market, from Starbucks, from Trader Joe, from Cupcake Cafe, and the neighborhood vendors who give us reduced prices and advice, like Cuppa Cuppa, the East 4th Street Copy Center, Post Al on 4th Street, and today's king, which is the Knickerbocker Bar and Grill. They donated this brunch. So thank you to Steve. I mean, Charles is the manager who's running this, and Steve Jones is the owner who said yes to us. Then there's our pro bono law firm to thank, and our lawyer from there is here. Here he is, Harry.
And Michelle.
Oh, Michelle, you came, yay, okay. They helped us incorporate as a 501c3, which, you know, was pro bono work for them, and it was just wonderful. Okay, and then I'm very pleased with the journalists who've given us publicity. There's Fred Scaglione in the nonprofit press. There's Neil DeMoss writing from Metro New York. There's Karen Lowe, who's here from City Limits. There's Julie Bosman from the New York Times, and Vanessa Yurkovich of New York One TV. We were New Yorkers of the week in July. The press stuff is on the laptop at that table, so if you want to look at it, go do. I'm going to stop now. Read the names in our all these names are in the back of the program. Talk to these folks. They have name tags. You know, I know them already, and I'll keep talking to them, so I'm just going to relax and stand still after this. But back to our volunteers for a minute. The one volunteer I want to single out is Llewellyn Barton, who put together this whole thing. So after you've eaten, you can eat and drink more, but come up to the fun table where we've got, that's the sign-in table, but this is the fun table where we have a laptop set up to the website. We have bundles of success stories of people like Angelica Hernandez and Xiomara Fernandez. You can leaf through their success stories. We have 2 resource books, which is really our Bible, which is those information sheets about housing and food and, you know, utilities and that kind of stuff. So leaf through them. And there's our brochure. You can take the brochure with you. And have fun. Okay. And any questions you have, either ask me, I'll be milling around, or anybody with a volunteer tag on them. Okay. Oh, with Llewellyn. What she asked is, where should she leave a check? And the answer is with Llewellyn in the front there. Okay, thank you.